Hey YouTube, this is Dana. Welcome to Now You Know. We're doing a live today introducing our sponsor, Next Generation Wealth Building, or NexGen. NexGen was started as a way to give back. Baby boomers are retiring and taking their institutional knowledge with them. Not only that, boomers will transfer approximately $68 trillion in assets to their heirs, mostly Gen Xers, or to charitable organizations in the next quarter century. With this significant wealth transfer, NexGen's mission is to share the wisdom from the baby boomers with the next generation who deserve the knowledge and want to receive it. Generational wealth is more than transferring assets to the next generation. That's why I'm going to briefly discuss the generational cohorts, NexGen's wealth building principles, their current and future projects, and how NexGen is getting the word out. First, let me describe what we mean when we talk about generations. We're going to put them in cohorts, and there are at least 6 distinct generations that live side by side in the United States today. They have earned nicknames based on how they behave and the historical events that influence them. The first one is the lost generation, and that refers to those who fought in World War I. Members of this generation were typically born between 1883 and 1900. This generation is generally defined as people born from 1901 to 1927. They were shaped by the Great Depression and were the primary participants in World War II. After the Depression and World War II, people had fewer children, and this was known as the silent generation. The Pew Research Center uses 1928 to 1945 as birth years for this cohort. This generation is noted as forming the leadership of the civil rights movement, as well as comprising the silent majority. Then we have the baby boomers, and they were born from 1946 to 1964. Boomers are widely associated with privilege, as many came of age in a time of increasing affluence and widespread government subsidies in post-war housing and education, and grew genuinely expecting the world to improve with time. However, this generation also has been criticized for its increases in consumerism and narcissism, which others saw as excessive. Generation X, or the MTV generation, or latchkey kids, were born from 1965 to 1980. Some of the cultural influences were the musical genres of grunge, hip-hop, and independent films. Midlife, they're described as happy, active, and looking for achieving work-life balance. They also have entrepreneurial tendencies. The millennials are the people that were born from 1981 to 1996. The Generation Y are considered millennials. This cohort is known for their elevated use of the internet, mobile devices, and social media. Last but not least is your Zoomers, your Generation Z. The Pew Research Center defines the Zoomers as people born from 1997 onward. They choose this date for this cohort for different formative experiences, such as new technological development and socioeconomic trends, including the widespread availability of wireless internet and high bandwidth cellular services. Now, during this time, they had some key events that included the September 11th terrorist attacks. But the oldest member of this cohort would be no more than 4 years old, so they would probably have little memory of this event. So now that we've talked about the generation cohorts and how they were segregated based on their experiences, let's explore the wellness dimensions that are interconnected and important to a well-rounded and well-balanced lifestyle. Okay, I can go through 3 of these wellness dimensions: the spiritual, emotional, and social. So to help guide us through life, spiritual wellness is a process of understanding our beliefs, values, and ethics. Spiritual wellness is really accepting that there's more to life than merely physical things. This includes learning to be mindful, being curious about the world around us, and considering the ethics and values that shape our actions in life. For those that participate in religious services, you can also set aside some time for more personal reflection, engage in meditation, or you can do some yoga. Now, a lot of people use yoga to manage stress, and managing stress is one of the ways you can be emotionally healthy. Other ways include staying on top of your job or your business, getting 8 hours of sleep, or just merely asking for help. Asking for help is not only a part of emotional wellness, but also social wellness. Having a good network of family and friends for support and friendship played a significant role in keeping people on track. During this time of quarantine, loneliness and isolation can bring with it a whole host of problems, including depression. Sharing a burden with a close friend can reduce the level of stress in that situation, and it can even possibly lead to solutions. We can use this time to meet people from different backgrounds via social media. Considering alternative perspectives and learning about diverse cultures can also help with growth, building trust, and communicating effectively. The physical wellness is extremely important and is one of the most neglected wellness dimensions. It involves moving our bodies, exercising, eating well-balanced meals for nutrition, hydrating, drinking the adequate amount of water, sleeping the appropriate amount of time, 7 to 8 hours, receiving preventative medical and dental care, sexual health screening for those that are sexually active, and managing stress. Now, on this intellectual dimension, it's about maintaining a growth mindset. Our mind is like a sponge and it soaks up knowledge. And we have to keep learning to keep the process going. Intellectual wellness, however, can be strengthened or weakened if we neglect it. Attending lectures and seminars that interest you, learning practical skills, or even learning another language. Joining intellectually stimulating groups, especially those connected with social or political matters, and always trying to see things from other perspectives to foster a more critical awareness. There's a sense of personal satisfaction with a person's choice of work. It could either be from a job or from business ownership. This dimension involves balancing work and leisure time building relationship with co-workers, whether they be employees or clients, and managing workplace stress. The work has to be meaningful and financially rewarding. To help maintain occupational wellness, the work has to fit with your values, interests, and skills. Environmental wellness is related to the surroundings we occupy. Our overall well-being is connected to the health of our environment. According to our surroundings, both social and natural can greatly impact how we feel. You can feel good when an environment is clear, organized, and safe. Pollution, violence, garbage buildup, and water conservation are some of the factors affecting environmental wellness. Ways to manage environmental wellness include creating neighborhood watches, recycling, planting a personal or community garden, purchasing products with minimal packaging, avoiding littering, and conserving energy and water by turning off lights and water when they're not in use. Last but not least, there's financial wellness. And that's a feeling of satisfaction about your financial situation. Managing finances is a common stressor for people. I addressed it last because I found that financial mismanagement came from an imbalancement of the other dimensions that I spoke of. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I wasn't taught that in school, or my parents didn't teach me about finances. To have generational wealth, we must eradicate generational curses. Here are a few ways to have financial wellness. We can stop comparing ourselves to others. We can go to thrift stores, and a lot of times those thrift stores contain new items, probably from the people who couldn't afford to have them. You can use the public library for free books and DVDs. We're paying for them with our taxes anyway. We can cook our own meals instead of dining out. We can even have dinner parties. We can donate to meaningful charities, and that may even include that thrift store. Track your weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly expenses for a household budget. And if you don't like the word budget, we can change that to spend plan. You can start a savings account and add to it every week to build an emergency fund if you don't have one. 6 months to a year I would recommend for living expenses. And so that we're clear, a vacation is not an emergency, but a furlough is. Cutting back or limiting unnecessary expenses like unused gym memberships, cables, and etc. And avoid the gift that keeps giving, credit card debt. Now, NexGen's current projects includes qualified opportunity zones and tax liens certificates, which the Millennial Moguls will discuss in future videos, with the future projects that include community service and our military veterans. NexGen communicates wellness topics through their boomer blogs, where they address the differences of the generational cohorts that I spoke about, as well as being in balance, podcasts, and YouTube videos. NexGen is nationwide, and they meet with the team on a weekly basis to share information. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed Now You Know, where we focus on next generation wealth building. Next Generation Wealth Building's information is in the description below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to sharing information with you in the future. Thank you.